He doesn't tell me what to think ever. Really? No. He just said she gave you the evil eye. You did give her the evil eye. Who is this person? Somebody bring tea. Did I give her the evil eye? Please bring back. You're psycho. Really? I gave her the evil eyes. Wow. Vicki Gunvalson, once celebrated as the unshakable OG of the OC, built her reality TV throne on hustle, high standards, and unapologetic energy. She was the franchise's heartbeat, the blueprint of what Bravo wanted in a real housewife. Bold, driven, unpredictable. But over time, that strength turned volatile. The line between confidence and chaos blurred. And the woman who'd once been admired for her entrepreneurial discipline became infamous for scandals that shadowed her brand, her relationships, and even her livelihood. There when she drew a picture of a pig on the Is That Uplifting? You're so uplifting. Do you think you're a beauty queen? Yeah, actually I'm way better looking than you are. That's for sure. Such a class. She says that. Well, you know what? I'm getting married. You have to pay for guys. All right. Okay. Let me get date old men. Trash. Moving on. Moving on. Moving on. Get her off my show. All right. Get her off my show. From screaming reunions to lawsuits, public feuds to professional losses, Vicki's journey became a study in how quickly fame mutates into fragility. What began as a success story of business meets entertainment spiraled into a series of cautionary headlines. In this deep dive, we'll track her story from power to backlash, drawing from court filings, interviews, and verified reports to show how the matriarch of the Real Housewives of Orange County fell into the very storm she once controlled. My friend, no matter what, you don't talk that way to me or him ever. You're supposed to be my friend. My friend, my soulmate, my sister. But that means you have respect for the man I love. I would never speak that way to Eddie. He said I would never speak that way to Eddie. You be quiet now, 'cause guess what? Everybody was scared of you. I'm not scared of you. I love this man and you spoke terrible to him. So we're out of here. Get out of here. You need an apology to me. You just caused problems. Get before Bravo lights and taglines. Vicki was an insurance agent in Coto Diaza, California. Practical, hardworking, and fiercely ambitious. She built Coto Insurance and Financial Services from scratch, priding herself on integrity and independence. Those who knew her before television described a woman who refused mediocrity. She micromanaged every deal, treated clients like family, and demanded respect in a male-dominated industry. When Bravo launched Art Talk in 2006, Vicki embodied the perfect on-camera persona. Successful, outspoken, emotionally raw. She wasn't just another housewife. She was the prototype. Her fiery personality gave early housewives the authenticity viewers craved. She sold policies by day, filmed arguments by night, and turned both into theater. Fans rooted for her because she seemed real. No facade, just emotion. But reality TV fame comes at a price. The very traits that made her magnetic. Intensity, perfectionism, control began to erode her relationships. Over time, viewers saw less of the businesswoman and more of the volatility. The OG of the OC was now a brand, and a brand under pressure to keep performing. I was so flipping upset with you. Why? Why? Because I said I don't think he's a good guy. I don't think he's a good guy. You know Brooks the way I know Brooks? No. Vicki, have I ever let it be a secret that I didn't think it was great what he did? She said, she has said it before. I don't really care if you like him or not. You don't have to sleep with them. You don't have to vacation with him. You don't have to. I didn't say bad things about Brooks. I said I don't think that he's good for you. How do you know what's good for me? That's my opinion. Don't you get it? Why can't anybody have an opinion but you? Do you not know what's my opinion? Why don't you tell it to his face instead of me? I've told him Brooks are better than me. Why don't you just say to him, I don't think you're a good guy. Leave me out of it. Leave my friends. Every Housewives franchise has its icon of chaos. And on RH, that was Vicki. Season after season, her reunions became headline events. Whether facing Tamara Judge, Shannon Beer, or Kelly Dodd, Vicki's default mode was attack. She interrupted, shouted, stormed off set, and returned in tears. Emotional exhaustion packaged as entertainment. Her feud with Tamara became legendary. Once inseparable best friends, later bitter enemies trading accusations of betrayal and hypocrisy. Shannon Veer, who initially supported Vicki, later accused her of spreading lies. By season 10, the tension between Vicki and her castmates was the show's main plotline. The 53-year-old, who lost her mother earlier this year, also revealed none of her castmates have reached out to lend support. They still have their mother, and they still have their partner. So, I've had 2 huge losses this year, and they're not there for me. That makes me realize that we're just TV friends, I guess. I don't know. Vicki also responded to a question asking whether she blames Tamara for starting the conversation about Brooks possibly not having cancer. I think the whole thing is pretty disgusting when you don't ask for medical records from somebody that's private information. And yes, it did start from Tamara. I mean, I don't know why or how she got Scott the psychic involved in this, but it started there, and then it just perpetuated into a whole season of Does He Appear? When the Brooks Eyes cancer scandal erupted, it cemented her controversial legacy. After Brooks was accused of fabricating cancer records, Vicki's credibility collapsed. Viewers questioned how much she knew. Her explanations, first denial, then partial admission, only deepened the divide. Andy Cohen's reunion interviews showed a woman cornered, shifting blame and refusing full accountability. The OG had lost the audience's trust, and the reunion meltdowns became symbolic of a star unraveling under pressure. The CO-19 pandemic reshaped how celebrities were judged. Compassion and responsibility replaced shock value as social currency. Vicki misread that moment. Instead of empathy, she expressed skepticism. Her social media posts questioned restrictions, mocked mask mandates, and echoed rhetoric many viewed as reckless. In 2020 and 2021, while most public figures tried to unify fans, Vicki doubled down on contrarian takes. She dismissed scientific consensus and labeled lockdowns fear tactics. Her statements ignited outrage. Bravo fans, a community active and vocal online, flooded comment sections demanding accountability. Former co-stars distanced themselves. Others called her tone insensitive. To Vicki, it was about freedom of thought. But in the public eye, it felt like irresponsibility. At a time of loss and fear, she projected indifference. Cancel culture didn't need to silence her. She alienated her own fan base. What could have been a chance to show compassion became another chapter of defiance, reinforcing the image of someone who couldn't read a room or the world around her. Reality fame is a double-edged sword for entrepreneurs. Vicki used hers to promote ventures from wine to vodka brands to financial seminars, but not all ended well. Multiple business filings show disputes over partnerships and contract performance. Her Vicki's vodka line, launched with fanfare, ended in litigation between partners over profits and licensing rights. She publicly minimized the fallout, calling it a learning experience. But insiders described poor communication and unrealistic promises. Similar tensions surfaced with former associates in her insurance firm, leading to whispers about staff turnover and internal friction. While most cases settled quietly, each added a layer of reputational wear. In business, consistency equals credibility. But when customers Googled her name, they found headlines about feuds and lawsuits. Over time, the lines blurred between Vicki the reality celebrity and Vicki the professional, and one began contaminating the other. Vehemently denies financial and elder abuse allegations in new lawsuit. Vicki Gunvalson, the former star of The Real Housewives of Orange County, is facing serious allegations in a newly filed lawsuit by Diane Field, a 74-year-old client who claims Gunvalson and her business partner engaged in fraudulent sales tactics and financial elder abuse. In response to these accusations, Gunvalson's attorney has issued a strong statement asserting that the reality TV star is outraged by the false allegations and vehemently denies all claims made against her. The lawsuit obtained by Page 6 outlines Field's allegations that Gunvalson and her partner Ali Hashiman exploited her financial vulnerability through deceptive practices. By 2024, the controversies had evolved from petty feuds to serious accusations. A California civil complaint filed against Vicki and her company alleged elder financial abuse and fraudulent misrepresentation. The plaintiff claimed deceptive sales tactics had led to financial loss, language that hit directly at the core of her business identity. Court documents publicly accessible detailed claims of undue influence and breach of fiduciary duty. For a figure who had built her brand on helping clients protect their futures, the irony was brutal. Vicki's team called the suit meritless, suggesting it stemmed from miscommunication and opportunism. Yet, the optics were devastating. Media outlets quickly amplified the story, framing it as the OG under fire. Even before resolution, the allegation itself damaged her professional standing. Vicki's art legacy is inseparable from her friendships and her betrayals. Tamara Judge was once her emotional anchor, only for the relationship to implode amid accusations of gossip and manipulation. Shannon Beer followed the same arc: friendship, loyalty, explosion. Kelly Dodd, initially an ally against other castmates, later called her a liar and hypocrite. By the later seasons, Vicki found herself isolated. Her attempts to re-enter group events were met with suspicion. Cast dinners became confrontation zones where old wounds resurfaced instantly. Even after her reduced role and eventual exit, co-stars rarely defended her publicly. For a Bravo veteran, that silence was louder than insults. Reality TV thrives on alliances. But when those bridges burn, producers lose interest. Without allies, there's no narrative protection. And Vicki's dramatic persona began to look less like television gold and more like professional risk. Her network standing weakened. What once felt like queen bee energy now read as outdated toxicity. Even as she tried to stage comebacks through Ultimate Girls Trip appearances, the chemistry had changed. The cast moved on. The audience did too. Crisis management is an art, one Vicki never mastered. Whenever scandal struck, her instinct was to go on the offensive. Instead of issuing measured apologies, she doubled down. She accused the media of twisting words, called critics haters, and blamed editing for conflict portrayal. This pattern made short-term noise, but long-term damage. PR specialists often point out that audiences forgive mistakes faster than they forgive arrogance. Every denial reinforced the idea that Vicki couldn't self-reflect. Her interviews became combative, not clarifying. In 2021, after fan backlash to her pandemic remarks, she dismissed critics as sheep. When the elder abuse story surfaced, she said the accuser was just looking for attention. Even if she believed she was right, the tone destroyed credibility. What might have been seen as misunderstanding turned into perceived arrogance. Over time, the brand that once symbolized power began to look tone-deaf and defensive. Two qualities deathly to modern celebrity survival. Scandal doesn't just erode image, it empties accounts. As her reputation faltered, opportunities vanished. Speaking engagement slowed, sponsors withdrew, companies that once partnered with her for events quietly disappeared. Her social media engagement dropped dramatically between 2020 and 2025. Even her insurance business felt the sting. Industry clients value stability, and her name now triggered Google results filled with words like lawsuit and controversy. Though loyal customers stayed, new leads dwindled. Behind the scenes, former employees spoke of fewer contracts and shrinking media visibility. Vicki attempted to pivot, launching podcasts, collaborating with fellow ex-housewives, hosting small events, but the numbers no longer matched her peak. The entertainment economy had shifted. Reality villains were profitable only when controllable. Vicki's volatility made her untouchable. Ultimately, the financial downturn mirrored her narrative one. Fame had brought her everything. But by 2025, it had taken almost the same in return. In reality TV, the currency isn't money. It's believability. Fans will forgive anger, betrayal, and scandal, but not deception. Vicki's long pattern of exaggeration, denial, and contradiction created a credibility gap too wide to bridge. Her emotional outbursts, once read as authentic, later they looked manipulative. Her claims of being misunderstood clashed with documented behavior on screen. Each denial became proof of the very traits she wanted to Disprove. When Brooks's fake medical records scandal hit, fans asked, how could she not know? When later lawsuits emerged, they asked, how could this keep happening? The benefit of doubt evaporated. By 2025, Vicki's version of events meant something dubious, not definitive. Credibility is fragile, and in unscripted television, once it's gone, it never returns. The OG of the OC found herself narratively boxed in. A legacy star whose reputation was too contested to rehabilitate, but too famous to disappear. The swirl around Vicki also shows how reality stars live in a haze of partial truth. Blogs, gossip accounts, and tea pages mix court filings with hearsay until audiences can't separate verified reports from speculation. Some rumors about Vicki affairs, secret bans, backdoor producer deals remain unproven. Others, like business disputes and the 2024 lawsuit, exist in official court records. Understanding her fall requires discernment, distinguishing what's confirmed from what's amplified for clicks. Yet, even exaggerated stories stick because they sound believable within her established persona. Years of visible conflict make any new rumor plausible. That's the trap of long-term fame. Perception hardens into truth. And for Vicki, the blurred line between fact and gossip became her permanent brand identity. Vicki Gunvalson's legacy is a paradox. A woman who built the Real Housewives empire through sheer personality, yet became undone by that same force. Her success story, a self-made businesswoman breaking into television and pop culture, was genuine. But her downfall, though exaggerated by tabloids, was self-authored through denial, stubbornness, and refusal to evolve. Across 2 decades, she transformed from pioneer to warning sign. Viewers once cheered her ambition. Later, they braced for her next eruption. She taught future reality stars how to command attention and how quickly that attention turns punitive. Her story isn't just about one lawsuit or one feud. It's about the slow corrosion of trust. The entrepreneur who sold protection couldn't protect her own brand. The woman who demanded loyalty alienated everyone around her. And the star who once symbolized Bravo's golden age of authenticity ended her run fighting ghosts of her own creation. The lesson simple but brutal. In modern fame, charisma isn't enough. Accountability is currency. The world that once rewarded her defiance now rewards humility. In that evolution, Vicki became a relic of an earlier era. One that valued noise over nuance, reaction over reflection. So, when the final credits roll, what remains isn't her tagline or her catchphrases. It's a question every public figure must face. What is success worth if you lose credibility along the way? Vicki Gunvalson will always be the OG of the OC, but her legacy is no longer about power or parties. It's a mirror showing that longevity and fame means nothing without integrity. She ruled the reality TV kingdom, then proved how fragile the crown truly is.